The Pathways to Knowledge model of information processing identifies 6 stages that students go through when learning to process information. They are appreciation, pre-search, search, interpretation, communication, and evaluation. More information on this can be found in the Technology as Facilitator of Quality Education model. The students in this 8th grade science class are studying the human digestive system. They work in teams to design experiments that test the effects of various foods and products on digestion. Each team presents its plan to the rest of the class for feedback. The students engage in the search stage of information processing as they identify the tools and resources they need to answer their questions. They plan a search strategy, and they evaluate their strategy with the help of their classmates.
A lot of people here drink pop, and we just wanted to see what pop's healthiest and best for you. So, yeah.
And then our materials are going to have 3 beakers so that we can boil off the pop so that it we can see how much syrup's left for like the syrup. And then we're going to have 2 cans of cherry Coke, 2 cans of wild cherry Pepsi, 2 cans of cherry 7-Up, cups, hot plates, blindfolds, markers, and Benedicts. We're going to do the Benedict's test, and we're going to do a survey and we're going to ask people what they think is the healthiest and why, and which one people think tastes best.
Yeah. First we're going to do the sugar test. We're just going to boil off the water. We're going to have the pop, and we're going to heat it, and we'll boil off the water so the syrup will stay left, and then we'll see which pop has the most syrup. And then we will just record our data and see which one has the most sugar.
Okay, how about feedback? Now, when you do a Benedict's test, you're going to do the Benedict's test with Coke, cherry Coke, wild cherry, Pepsi, and cherry 7-Up. So they're all color drinks. Okay, how will the Benedict's test show up? Do you think it'll show up very well?
No, not the color. They use caramel for color, and we probably think that that's going to show too for the Benedict's test.
Yeah. So what do you think we might want to do instead?
You might want to use clearer pops, so then the caramel won't affect the Benedict's test at all. So the pop with no color or artificial color.
Okay. All right. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah.
All right. So then we should be able to have a clearer sense of what the Benedict's test would be. Okay. All right. Any other suggestions you can give? I would suggest in the data table you also have then the percent sugar. Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned salt.
We have that one.
Okay, so you're going to want to then see who, rate as far as the amount of salt. Okay?
The students further demonstrate the search stage of information processing as they conduct their experiments. They gather and record information to answer their research questions, and they determine the relevancy of the data they collect.
Round. Okay, so this is round.
Oh my gosh, look at, yeah, you're going to want to dry them, so let's do that. What do you need? Here, you need a pen? Here's more labels. Right here.
We have labels.
Do you have labels? Okay.
We have many. Okay. We're doing it over again.
Hey, don't worry about that one right now. It's the one I already have out.
But that's a McDonald's large, French fries, and that's a Wendy's
But wouldn't it be
Great Biggie.
But wouldn't it? I think McDonald's large and Great Biggie are the same size.
Yeah, they're almost the same. That's like the size.
Okay.
But wouldn't it be the same though? For if you measured them all the same weight.
Yeah, we just measured them all the same weight.
Since they're
Okay.
closely the same.
So you started with the same weight.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it that way. So we'll see. That may be different.
And those are closely the same weight.
Okay. All right. Well, they look like the potatoes have sunk, and we'll be able to get the fat to come to the top, right?
Do you want like a rag?
Which one is this? Sprite?
Yeah.
Is this Sprite?
Yeah.
Okay. And it really, if you take a look at the amount of sugar, a lot less than the
sodium. But they're usually indirect objects. But inverse relationships.
relationships. The more sugar, but in this case, yeah, you had a lot more
Yes.
sugar.
I think Sierra Mist has the most, don't you? Doesn't that look like it has the most?
Unless it just, yeah, it looks like it. Did you take the mass? And the mass worked out?
The mass, and it was,
Oh, wait a minute, this had more mass, though.
no, that's just the mass of the jar.
Oh, got it. All right.
Sprite had 10.2, 7-Up actually had the most with 15.3, but Sierra Mist was pretty close with 14.5. So it could just be like some technical difficulties.
The students engage in the interpretation stage of information processing when they write up their experiments. The students analyze their data, reflect on the results, and draw conclusions based on the evidence. The students demonstrate the communication stage of information processing by presenting their results to the rest of the class. The groups that did not have time to complete their experiments discuss their preliminary findings.
Well, what we found out so far is actually what we expected not to happen, because sirloin we found had the most fat, but Chuck we found had the least fat. But we believe that's because not all the water has been extracted from the patties yet, so that could throw off the weight measurements or the mass measurements before and after. So we're going to try to draw in some more, and then hopefully have some more accurate results.
The groups who finished their investigations present their data to the class. They apply information to answer their research questions, organize it using tables and graphs, and express their ideas in a presentation.
This is the percentage of fat in beef brand French fry. Burger King had the most, and McDonald's, and then Wendy's. And then this is just the taste test, like compared. So green is how many people thought it was the fattiest, and red is how many people liked it best.
Liked it the best, and so McDonald's had none. I see. So they thought Burger King would have the most fat, and it did. And they liked it the best. Okay, sounds good.
It's actually probably easier when we were looking at the raw data. It's not quite as easy to see in the graph. But what happened was Alka-Seltzer jumped in the first minute, the highest, and the others didn't go. The others didn't go up to quite as far. But they all started out pretty high in the first for the first minute. And then eventually, what happened was Rolaids jumped the least in the first minute, but eventually it climbed, and it wound up getting the highest, just a little bit above the other two.